Hey everyone, I'm Ben with Switchback Off-Road, and today it's time to start preparing for the cold water run. And we've got quite a few things to do. The trip is still a week out, but I've never done a video on what getting ready for a trip looks like, so we want to share that with you today. Well, we had a guest already appear. He is the star of the show, but guys, I have not been on an overland trip in a while. It's been, I guess, since July, so we're a little bit rusty. The first thing I've got to do is I've got to get my fridge back ready to go. It had some issues while we were out in Colorado. This is the original ARB Classic fridge. And so I got those parts in. It appears to be working now, but to do that, I had to take apart a whole bunch of stuff. And so what I typically like to do is clean it up a little bit before we go on a trip. But in repairing it, I had to take off the insulation, and it's just still super dirty from Colorado. It's got dust all over the covers, and so we got to put that stuff back on, clean it up, and get it ready and loaded into the Wrangler. I'm gonna go ahead and get this cover on. I know I've got to add some new Velcro to it. Easiest way, I think, is to slide this in. Making a quick note of this while I'm doing this. These covers, if you just put them in the back of your truck bed and you go somewhere where it's super dusty, they are a pain to get cleaned back up. And that's one of the biggest reasons we got a topper for the Gladiator after we got back from Colorado, because, man, this thing is just covered. So we got those corners snapped in. And then up front, how this works, just fold this up. I don't think I'm in all the way back here, actually. Kind of get this up, stretch it good. And then you got these little tabs that go in the sides here. This thing's already been cleaned once, and it still has a ton of dust in it. But what we need to do now is these covers come with Velcro strips that help hold the sides up, and ours have just simply run out of adhesive on them. And so I'm going to replace those here real quickly, and then I'm also going to get some cleaner, and we're going to clean up the inside, the basket, all the things. So what I try to do when I'm preparing for a trip, and this is kind of going to change for me a little bit now that I'm married and have a dog and a whole different vehicle platform for that matter, is I will try to set everything out about a week before the trip, so I know, that everything's in place. When I was in college, my Jeep just stayed loaded up and ready to go. I'd keep my kitchen in there. The rooftop tent was obviously on there, and I could pretty much just pull out and leave whenever I wanted to. A few more details to cover now, but yeah, so I'm starting with the fridge, getting it ready. I ended up having to get a new, I think it was a new thermostat sensor for it because my fridge was having a code. And I wish I would have made a video on fixing that because it was a little bit tricky, but also really simple as well. I'm kind of just sticking that Velcro on to the other Velcro piece at first, and then I'm sticking it onto the side of the fridge. And that just kind of runs up the edges. And luckily I'm inside. It's not cold in here, so it should adhere pretty nicely. Now I'm going to see how much I can clean up the inside. Pretty much just use a all-purpose cleaner. I'm going to let that soak for a second. And then what I also want to do is take everything out of my bag. And I want to see if I can clean up this outside just a little bit more because it is so filthy. That is the biggest thing we hated about having the Gladiator out in Colorado is just how much dust got on everything. It was not pleasant. Look at that. That's what you get with dust and a Gladiator bed. So I'll usually keep this upper section in the fridge. I'll keep this divider up, and then I have this divider as well. And I'll usually keep lunch items here, cold snacks, breakfast drinks, because not a lot goes right there. And it usually works out pretty well. So we got this girl all cleaned up. Hopefully this cover dries nicely, and that's still really dirty, but a lot better than it once was. So I'm going to put my manual back in the side, and I'm going to put the AC power cord back in there, and we're going to move on to the next thing. Next thing I double check is my kitchen setup, and we just hit pay dirt because there are 2 rolls of shop towels in there. That's a great sign. Okay, so really in my kitchen setup, I'll just make sure that I have things like my propane, utensils, spices, which also I've got to say as far as utensils go, if you don't have one of these front runner utensil sets, pick one up. It is super, super nice. It's got carabiners you can clip onto your bed rack or to the side of your Jeep on your roof rails if you have them. So yeah, like I said, just in here making sure that my essentials are here: cutting board, drying rack, you know, plates, and it all appears to be here because I try not to ever separate any of this. I've got my cooking oil, paper plates. I always recommend paper plates because you can just throw them away. All right, so that tote is wiped down, ready to go. Push that aside. The next thing is tools, but I've got a tool setup that I've been using in the Wrangler and Gladiator the past couple weeks to get things ready. So it's already out there. Also in that, I've got my recovery stuff, and I've got air hoses. My new Morphlate system is going to go with us. So we'll load those up here in just a second, and I'll go through all that gear. Next thing up is how we store our clothing, and typically I'll do that in those Plano totes. They've worked great for me in the past, but trying to maximize space, going from just me to now 3 of us, I'm switching over to a duffel bag, and that's mainly because honestly I don't change clothes a whole lot on the trail. The main thing I'll change is, you know, socks and underwear. That's, you know, what you're wearing out, and maybe t-shirt. You can get the same wear out of pants for a couple days, especially if you're on a trip like what we're about to go on, and you're getting out, you're in the mud anyway. You don't want to be getting mud on fresh pants every single day. You know, out cutting trees. If you're in a technical section and you're, you know, constantly getting out winching each other, you know, you can get a whole 4-day trip out of 2 pairs of pants. And so what I'm giving a try for the first time this trip is the North Face Base Camp Voyager. This is a 42-liter duffel bag, which one stores up super small, and it's super cool how it folds out. So I'm gonna kind of do that. It kind of just stores within itself, and it rolls up kind of similar to like a rain jacket, like those Frog Tog raincoat systems. But man, look at that. It folds out. The storage pouch turns into a outside pouch, and then see if I can get this out and zipped up. Then you open it up, get those straps down, and this is a duffel bag and a backpack. So, you know, if you're gonna go on a trip and you know, want to use this as carry-on, it's good for that too. But look how small that is. I mean, I'm going to have no issue fitting just those basic essentials that I need on a trip. I'll pack all the underwear, plenty of pairs of socks. That's the main thing I'll take, is extra pairs of socks. But most of the time we wear Teva sandals. Those are great for if you've got to get out, walk through some water. They dry super quick. But yeah, look, check this thing out. It's 42 liters, has a mesh pouch up top for whatever you want to put there. It's got 2 end pouches, the inner section, plenty of space for, you know, I could fit a good 5 days worth of clothes in here, in addition to my dock kit with all my toothpaste and deodorant and all that stuff. You know, we do try to maintain some sense of hygiene while out on the trail. And so plenty of room in this thing. I'm really looking forward to this. I really am hoping that I can stuff this underneath my seat or in the floorboard. I think this is going to work out great. Next up is going to be food storage. Again, this changes depending on what vehicle I'm in. Also, this trip is just me, so not a lot going to be needed. So I've got this Front Runner dry box. Works really great. It's got these mesh pouches up here. It's got a longer pouch on the middle, and then plenty of space. Typically what I will stick to is a small breakfast and lunch, you know, enough to fit 5 days worth in this, and then I'll do cold frozen, like big dinners, so steaks, chicken, green beans, you know, that kind of thing, and that works out really well. So, you know, I can fit 3 days worth of canned goods in here. I can put some of those quick mashed potatoes in here. In addition to that, I'll put my Cliff Bars, tortillas and peanut butter. That's really more of a backpacker lunch, but it's simple, so I do that quite a bit. And that all fits in here so perfectly. Again, this is a low profile design, and so the Front Runner dry box works out really nice. For water, on our big trips with the whole family, I will load up our 5-gallon water jug. But for just me and Remy, I'll be using this Rotopac's 2-gallon water tank. It's also going to get cleaned up here in a second because it is super dirty. But yeah, that's about it for food and water. Other things, I'm not going to quite get out yet because I don't want them just laying around the house for a week. Camp chairs, pop-up fire pit. Later, closer to the trail, we'll get dry firewood if we know that there's going to be rain. Arkansas has had a lot of rain this weekend, and so we know for next weekend there's potential that, you know, we might not have dry wood if we don't pick up any. So we'll get that while we're out there. We'll take our Devos Light Rangers. I've got 2 of those. That lights up camp really nicely. I can't remember if I said it already, but camp chair, that's really important. You don't want to have to sit on the ground. And then other than that, just, you know, whatever else is out already in the Jeep, I'll go through that here in just a minute. All right, everybody. Well, it is just a couple of days later, and Remy and I have been out here loading the Jeep, taking care of some pre-trip things, and just want to take you around it. So I have not been on a trip since I have deleted my rear seat. So this is going to be a first for me. Do you have something to say? What do you want to tell all the people? Talk to them. Good boy. Good boy. All right, so yeah, so the seat being gone allows my fridge to be up a little bit further than what it normally is. It typically is right up against my tailgate table and will rub. But this is what I've got going on. I've also never been on a trip in the Wrangler with a dog, so this will be a first as well. So I've got the Goose Gear 60% seat delete, and I think what I'm doing here is I've got his bed, and then I've got tools right here in this front compartment, tire plugs, jumper cables, extra pins, drill bits, extra coolant, just in case. And that's working out really nice there. And then I think this back pocket I'm gonna make his food, because I won't need it all day until dinner time. So I'm thinking his food's gonna fit nicely in there, and all of that kind of stuff I'm not gonna need access to during the day. What I did, since I don't have the rear piece to the Goose Gear, I was able to screw some M6 bolts into those mounting holes to mount my fridge. So hopefully it won't slide forward onto Remy, and it won't slide backwards towards my tailgate. And then perfectly, the Morphlate compressor, the 10.6 PSI Pro, fit in this space perfectly. I've got my kinetic rope, easy to grab here. Soft shackles, super easy. I just have them on carabiners on my rear handle. And then the Morphlate hose is here out of the way, but still just as easily accessible. In the seat over there, I couldn't decide if I wanted to fold the seat down or leave it up, but when you fold the seat down in my Jeep with the I've got the rear seat recline kit, it doesn't sit flat, so it doesn't exactly make a perfect place to sit stuff and stack them up. So I was like, well, let me just sit my tools in the seat, I'll buckle them in, ratchet the belt back to where it's holding it, and then in that perfect space over there, I'm thinking I'm gonna be able to fit my duffel bag and my power station, and then also I don't have the close off kit, so I actually have access underneath this middle piece right here. So there's plenty of storage in here. And I don't know if this I don't have my microphone on right now, so I don't know how well this audio has been, but then I'm trying to keep the front seat empty if I can, in case a rig breaks down and somebody wants to just ride the rest of the weekend. We've had that happen in the past, or if I'm at the back and need to take somebody elsewhere, just try to keep that available. Of course, during the day, if I need to put some small things like a jacket, I can do that as well. But got my radio back in the Wrangler, all the patches. I've got my Molly mount overheaded. Yeah, I don't know what all I'm gonna put there quite yet for this trip. I've pretty much, with the Goose Gear, been able to eliminate everything extra that I would usually need a tote for. So, well, my video got cut off for a phone call, but I've got fuel on the spare. I'll have a water tank there, but I typically will pack water bottles. It doesn't matter how clean the water is that you put in a Rotopack. It's just I'm personally not gonna ever drink that. I'll use it to clean dishes and things like that, but Remy and I will stick to the Kirkland's water from Costco. So anyway, I think the Wrangler's loaded up for now. All we have to do is pack our clothes and a couple more blankets for the tent in case it gets chillier than we're expecting, and then we will be ready to roll out come Thursday morning. All right, well, that's going to do it for this video. As you can see, we have officially begun the cold water run. We got here late last night and had an okay night's sleep. Remy just wanted to get out of the tent all night. I don't know if he was hearing stuff, but that was annoying, but we made it. So if you want to check out the cold water run videos, that's going to be next week. And so if you would, like and subscribe, and we will see you next time. Bye.